Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Fathin and I will be the first to present our slides for today. So the topic we choose for today's slides is digital well-being and mental health of students in the post-pandemic era. So let's get into it. For introduction, what is digital well-being? Digital well-being means having a healthy and balanced relationships with technology. It is about using digital devices in a way that supports your mental health, emotional, and physical health instead of harming it. So, in simple terms, digital well-being is about being in control of technology and not letting technology control us. So, what are the examples of digital well-being? The obvious one would be taking breaks from screens. Don't binge watching something like K-dramas or YouTube videos for 10 hours nonstop. We should take a break. And the next one is setting boundaries for study and rest. Not only to take care of our physical health, but also to take care of our mental health. So, to talk about mental health, what mental health actually is. Mental health refers to our emotional, psychological, and also social well being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. It also determines how we handle stress, build relationships, and make decisions. It is an essential part of overall health, just like physical health. Just like we know, a healthy mind supports a healthy body. Mental health is more than just the absence of illness. It's about having emotional balance, resilience, and a sense of purpose in our daily lives. Let's talk about characteristics of good mental health. A person with good mental health is able to cope with challenges, not by running away, but by handling pressure, adapting to change, and also stay calm during stressful situation. Next one is maintain positive relationships with everyone. A person with good mental health can communicate well, show empathy, and also build supportive friendships. So, what is the connection between digital well-being and mental health, and why digital well-being and mental health relevant today? The connection is when students use technology mindfully and in moderation, it supports good mental health by reducing stress and improving focus. However, excessive screen time, social media pressure, and lack of boundaries can lead to anxiety, low self-esteem, and emotional exhaustion, which is an example of a mental illness. Why digital well-being and mental health relevant today? First, increase screen time. Since the pandemic, students and teachers spend more hours online for study, communication, and entertainment. Constant exposure to screens can cause digital fatigue, eye strains, and also sleep problems. Overuse of devices also reduces face to face interaction, which can affect social skills and emotional connection. That's why managing screen time is now essential to maintain focus, productivity, and also mental clarity. Next one is social media pressure. Social media creates pressure on students as constant comparison with idealized image and the desire for likes and validation. It can cause stress and low self-esteem. So practicing mindful use helps to protect emotional well-being and build a positive self-image. The last one is need for balance. Since technology is deeply integrated into our daily life, students must find balance between online and offline interactions to prevent burnout, to improve focus, and to strengthen mental health, and also to learn how to use technology wisely without letting it control their lives. That's all for slides 1. Moving on to the next slides. So the next slides, pandemic impact. How COVID-19 changed learning habits. So first one is a shift to online learning. When the COVID-19 pandemic began, schools and universities around the world were forced to close their doors almost overnight. Education could no longer take place in traditional classrooms. So, lessons were quickly moved to online platforms such as Google Classroom, Zoom, and Google Meet. This sudden change meant that both students and teachers had to adapt to a completely new way of learning. Students who were used to face lessons now had to learn through screens, often from their bedrooms or living rooms. This required them to develop new skills in time management, self disciplines, and digital communication. Teachers, on the other hand, had to transform their teaching methods by using digital tools to create slides, videos, and to keep in and interactive quizzes. They experimented with new strategies to make lessons more engaging and keep students motivated despite being physically apart. Overall, this shift to online learning changed not only how students communicate with their teachers and classmates, but also how they collaborate and take responsibility for their own learning. It marked the beginning of a more independent and self-directed learning culture. Next is increased screen times. With all learning happening online, students begin spending many hours each day in front of screens, like attending classes, completing their assignments, and even meeting friends virtually. While technology made learning possible during the pandemics, this also led to new challenges. The long hours of screen exposure caused digital fatigue, eye strain, and sometimes headaches. Students become less active physically since they were sitting most of the day. This imbalance affected not only their physical health but also their mental well being, as many felt tired, unmotivated, or disconnected. In addition, as laptops and phones became the main tools for both studying and relaxing, it became much more harder for them to separate study time from personal time. Many students found themselves being distracted by social media or entertainment during lessons, making it more difficult to focus and stay productive. This experience reminded us that while technology can support learning, it is also important to use it wisely and maintain a healthy balance between screen time and rest. Last one is the rise of digital platforms. The pandemic also accelerated the use of various e-learning tools and educational apps such as Kahoot, Quizzes, and also Google Meet. Teachers explore new methods of online assessments, while students discovered digital resources that made learning more flexible and interactive. These innovations transform education into a more technology-driven system that continues to influence classrooms today. Learning became more flexible, allowing students to access lessons anytime and anywhere. It also encouraged creativity and innovation in how lessons are taught and delivered. In short, COVID-19 completely reshaped how we view education. It showed us that learning doesn't have to be confined to a classroom. It can happen virtually, col- collaboratively, and creatively through the use of technology. Next, moving on to our third slides about post-pandemic digital habits. So the first post-pandemic digital habits is blurred boundaries between study and rest. Since the pandemic, many students have continued to rely on the same devices they once used for online class. like their laptops, their tablets, and also their smartphones. These devices are now used for both studying and relaxing, which often blurs the line between schoolwork and personal time. For example, a student might finish an online assessment and without even switching tabs, they start watching videos or scrolling through social media. Because both study and leisure happen in this same digital space, it becomes harder to stay focused and maintain discipline. As a result, many students feel mentally tired or distracted even when they are not studying. The mind no longer knows when to switch between the study mode and the rest mode, which can lead to burnout or loss of motivation. This shows how important it is to create clear boundaries between learning and relaxation, whether by taking screen breaks, studying in a quiet space, or even setting a digital schedule. Next is the rise of online learning resources. Even after returning to physical classrooms, many students still rely on online learning platforms such as YouTube lessons, Google resources, and digital courses to support their studies. This shows that e-learning has become a normal and valuable part of modern education. Students now have access to a wide range of materials, from video tutorials to interactive learning apps, which allows them to learn at their own pace and review difficult topics anytime. Teachers too have integrated these online tools into classroom lessons to make learning more engaging and accessible. The pandemic has therefore created a new learning culture where traditional and digital education blend together. Students are more independent, resourceful, and able to explore beyond the textbook. But this also means spending more time online, which requires balance and responsibility. So the last one would be the digital dependence and distractions. Today, many students have developed a strong dependence on their digital devices, not just for studying, but also for comfort, entertainment, and social connection. Checking the phone has become a habit, and notifications from social media, games, or messaging apps constantly compete for attention. This constant connectivity makes it harder to concentrate at one task for long periods. Students may feel restless or anxious if they are away from their devices, which showing signs of digital dependency. That's why managing screen time has become an essential part of digital well-being. Learning to disconnect, take mindful breaks, and use technology with purpose can help to improve focus and maintain a healthier balance between the digital world and real life. That's all from me. I will pass to Adam for him to explain the next slides. Thank you.
So, thank you, Fathin, for giving us a perfect summary of our new digital habits. Things like the blurred boundaries between our study life and our rest life, our rise in dependence on digital resource, and the constant distractions that make it hard to focus. This leads us directly to the next big question. What is the result of all these new habits? What is the impact on us, mentally and emotionally, when we're living this way 24/7? And that's what I'm going to talk about. As you can see on this slide, these habits have unfortunately led to some significant mental health challenge. Let's break this down because each one is really a big deal. So first, let's talk about rising anxiety. We all know what anxiety feels like, that nervous, on edge feeling, but in the digital world, it shows up in new ways. It's the anxiety of what people think of us when we're in Zoom call for 20 minutes. Do we look weird, or the feeling of we were being judged by people when we are in the meeting or Google Meet? It's also the anxiety of always being connected when your phone is always by your side. You're always on call for a new email, a new assignment notification, a new text from a group project. There's no off switch. That constant low level alert state is what anxiety is, and it's exhausting. This leads directly to the second part, burnout and Zoom fatigue. Let's be clear. Zoom fatigue is not just being tired of Zoom. It's a real documented psychological effect. Our brains are not built for this. In a real life conversation, we're picking up on tiny bits of body language. We can look away, we're in a shared space. But on a video call, you're staring at a grid of faces all looking directly at you. It feels like everyone is staring at you, which is intense. Plus, you're staring at yourself, you're self conscious about how you look, if you're not nodding enough, if your background is okay. Your brain is working overtime to process all this unnatural social information. Now, do that for 6 hours a day. That's not just tired, that's a burnout. Burnout is when you get to the end of the day or the end of the week when you feel completely empty. You have no mental or emotional energy left. It's not just I need a nap. It's like you need a new brain to process all this. That's what continuous online classes and constant video interactions does if you're not careful enough. Finally, let's bundle the last 2 points: excessive screen exposure and social comparison pressure. The screen exposure part is physical and mental. Physically, it's headache, eye strain, and neck pain from hunching over too much. But mentally, it's what it does to our sleep and stress. That blue light from our phones, tablets, and computers literally tricks our brains into thinking it's still daytime, which disrupts our sleep. And when you don't sleep well, everything feels more stressful. Now, at what we're looking at, this is the social comparison part. We're scrolling through Instagram, TikTok. What do we see normally? We see everyone's highlight reel, their best vacation photo, their great grades on projects or assignments, their new internship, their perfect study setup. We know it's not the full story, but it feels real. And we compare that curated perfection to our own messy, normal, behind the scenes life. It's an unwinnable game that can crush our self esteem and create this awful, constant feeling of inadequacy, making us feel like we're always falling behind them. Okay, so that was a lot, and it's all true. The burnout, the bad sleep, the social pressure, it's all real. But if digital life was only bad, we'd all just log off and throw our laptops, right? The truth is, it's more complicated than that. This shift has also brought some incredibly positive impacts on our well being, which is what this next slide is all about. Let's look at the other side of the coin. So, the first point is the most obvious, but it's huge: easy access to learning anytime and anywhere. Think about the old day. If you miss a class, what did you do? Had to get notes from a friend, right? And they were probably confusing and incomplete. Now, the lesson, the notes, the videos are available 24/7. This is a massive stress reduction. Are you a morning person? Great, get it done early. Are you a night owl? That's fine. Watch the lecture at 10 p.m. You can learn at your own pace. This is the key. In a real class, if you get confused, the teacher keeps moving and you're lost. With a video lesson, what can you do? You can rewind it until you exactly get what the lecture is all about. You can pause it to take notes too, and you can rewatch the hard part 5 times until you get it. This gives us a sense of control over our learning that we never had before, and that control is fantastic for our well being. So, to the second point, let's be real. Traditional classes can be boring, right? Just sitting and listening to a lecture for an hour. It's not how most of us learn best, right? This is where fun and interactive tools come in. This slide mentions Kahoot, quizzes, and Padlet. We all know that feeling when the Kahoot music starts, right? You lean in and you want to win. You're focused. Suddenly, you're not just learning, you're playing a game. But to win the game, you have to know the material. It's active, it's social, it's fun, and it's a huge motivation boost. Tools like Padlet are different, but just as cool. It's a digital world where everyone can post their ideas at the same time. You're not waiting to raise your hand, you're seeing everyone's thoughts pop up. It makes class active and engaging instead of just a passive sit and get experience. This last point is my favorite one. It can build independence, creativity, and confidence for students. Independence comes because you're not just being a spoon fed information, you have the entire internet. Your teacher might say, go research this topic, and you have to become a detective somehow. You learn to find the resource, figure out what's credible, and teach yourself. That is a skill for life. Creativity comes from a new ways to show what you know. For generations, the main way to show learning was a test or an essay. But now, digital projects are an option. Your teacher might let you make a short video, design a website, record a podcast, or create an animation. You get to find a new creative way to express your ideas. And when you do that, you build confidence. When you make something you're proud of, something that's yours, it's a way better feeling than just getting a good grade on a test. You've created something new, and that builds a deep, lasting confidence in your own abilities. So we've seen both sides. The serious So we've seen both sides, the serious challenge and the amazing positives. Where does that leave us? It leaves us here. The whole goal of digital well-being isn't to get rid of tech, it's to find balance. And that's what this last slide is about. It's a team effort. It's partly on us and it's partly on our environment, like our teachers. First, let's look at the box on the left, finding digital balance. This is our part. It says take digital detox breaks. This doesn't mean you have to go to a cabin in the woods for a week. It can be small, it can be deciding no phone at the dinner table. It can be the phone, it can be the phone in another room. Strict when you need to study so you're not tempted. It's about intentionally creating screen-free time to let your brain reset for a while. So the next one is separate study versus leisure screen time. This is the ultimate post-pandemic challenge because they often happen on the same device in the same room. The key is to create boundaries. Don't have your schoolwork open in one tab and YouTube in the next. When it's study time, be in the study mode. Maybe even use a different browser profile. Then, when it's come to relax, fully close the school stuff, but put it aside. Let your brain know it's time to switch off. And finally, do offline hobbies. This is very important. We need to do things that aren't about consuming digital content. Read a physical book, go for a walk without using your handphones. Maybe sketch, play an instrument, cook, anything, or spending time with your family. These activities use a different part of our brain. They are not as draining and they're how we truly recharge. This slide also mentions teachers should be model healthy habits, which is a great point. A teacher who doesn't send emails at 11 p.m. is showing us how to have boundaries. Now, the box on the right, the teacher's role, because we can't do this all alone, right? Our environment matters to our behavior, right? Teachers can include mindfulness breaks in lessons. This can be so simple and so powerful. Imagine in the middle of a long, heavy class, the teacher just says, "Okay, everyone, screens off. Let's all just close our eyes for 60 seconds and breathe." It instantly resets the energy in the room and gives our brains a badly needed pause. They can encourage open talks about stress also. This is about validation. It's about creating a space where it's safe to say, I'm feeling overwhelmed. When a teacher acknowledges that Zoom fatigue is real or that the workload is heavy, it makes us feel like we're not crazy and we're not alone. And a huge one is use technology meaningfully, not excessively. We all know the difference. Using Kahoot for a fun review, that's meaningful. Being told to just go read a 40-page PDF and take notes, that can feel excessive, right? It's about using tech as a tool to make learning better, not just using it as a digital babysitter. When teachers do all this, they build a supportive classroom environment, an environment where our well-being is treated as just as important as our grades. So I think that's the full picture from my side. We've seen the very real challenge of burnout and social comparison. We've seen the powerful positives of flexibility and creativity. And finally, we've looked at the solution, finding a balance that's a team effort between us as students and our teachers who support us. So I've covered the what and why of digital well-being. And now I'll hand it over to Adriana to continue this slide. Thank you.
Okay, so onto the next slide, we have the solutions for teachers and students. Digital well-being extends beyond personal habits. It's about creating a safe, respectful learning community, whether it's online or offline. So the first point is integrate digital citizenship lessons, which to identify online stress, cyberbullying, and misinformation. Our world now is a blend of the physical and the digital. Students need the skills to navigate the dark corners of the internet. And also, we must also teach you to spot misinformations and to recognize the signs of online stress or cyberbullying in yourself and your peers. Knowing how to report and seek help is a critical life skills too. And not to mention, embed short tag check-in. So from now on, teachers will commit to starting class with a brief moment of reflections, asking questions like how everyone's feeling about online tasks this week, or what digital tools are stressing you out. Create a safe space to discuss the pressure and find solutions together instead of suffering in silence. The next point, we have the model healthy behavior. This model healthy behavior can highlight the importance of being present. This message is especially for teachers and staff. We must lead by example. Set an example and respect digital boundaries. We commit to avoid replying to messages late at night. Sending an email at 11 p.m. might seem efficient, but it tells the receiver that they should always be on. We must respect the boundaries we are asking students to set for themselves. The second one is highlight the importance of being present. During lessons, whether we're online or in person, the focus must be on the material and the conversation. If we ask you to put your phone in a locker, we will commit to placing ours out of sight too. Being present foster deeper connections, sharper learning, and genuine respect. And the next one we have is for students, and the first one is digital detox routine. So the first step is taking control of your personal time. This is actually a non-negotiable. Just as you schedule class or sport, you must schedule time away from screens. A brilliant starting point is no screen after 10 p.m. or whatever time works best for your household. Why? Because your brain needs downtime. Scrolling endlessly trains your attention span to be fragmented, which is the enemy of deep learning. Use that time instead to read a physical book, talk to a family member, or maybe prep your things for the next day. Not to mention, use apps to manage distractions. When it's time to study, your phone is a sabotage. Use focus tools like Forest or your device's built-in focus mode. These apps acts as a firewall between you and those tempting notifications. They help to help you to stay in the moment, which is the key to deep, effective study. And the second and the last point is healthy sleep and screen habits. If you're struggling with energy or focus, your sleep is likely the first victim of your screen time. So instead, avoid screen 1 hour before bedtime. This is arguably the most crucial habits for your health. The blue light emitted by phones, tablets, and laptops suppresses the productions of melatonin, the hormone that tells your brain it's time to sleep. By staring at a screen right up until your eyes close, you are essentially telling your brains, stay awake. The next one is use blue light filters or night mode. We know students sometimes have to study late. If that's the case, at least activate the night shift or night mode setting. It shifts the screen's color spectrum to a warmer yellow hue, reducing the amount of sleep disruption, blue lights, and also reducing eye strain. The role of schools in digital well-being. Schools serve as an anchor institutions, the central environment where students spend a significant portion of their formative years and where digital tools are extensively integrated into learning. Therefore, the school's commitment must be comprehensive and systematic. The first point is develop digital well-being policies and awareness campaign. This commitment goes beyond simple rules about phone use. It establishes a proactive, supportive digital culture. The first one we can do is establish clear, adaptive guidelines. School must develop digital well-being policies that clearly define acceptable standards for phone use during school hours. For instance, in classes or during lunch. Expectations for online classes, for online behavior like cyberbullying protocols, and respectful digital communications. These policies should be reviewed annually to keep pace with evolving technology. And then we can also provide access to support resources. Policies should clearly outline the support resources available for students experiencing digital stress, including contact information for counselors, anonymous reporting systems, and curated external resources for online safety. The second bullet point is provide counseling and safe space for students. Recognizing that digital stress, cyberbullying, and social media pressure are real mental health issues. So, school must ensure students have immediate, reliable support. Offer targeted counseling services. Schools counselors should be specifically trained to address issues arising from digital life, such as social media addiction, anxiety related to online comparison, and recovery from cyberbullying. Students need a trusted professional who understands the unique pressure of the digital age. Next, integrate lessons that teach students to recognize their own signs of stress or burnout caused by excessive screen time and empower them to strategies to self-regulate or seek help. We can also train teachers to detect stress and manage digital learning effectively. Teachers are the front lines and need the tools to model healthy technology use and support their students effectively. Train teachers can set boundaries in their own digital communications with students. For instance, non-response outside of school hours. This models healthy digital behavior and reinforces the idea that there is a time to be off. Next, they can also recognize the signs of students' burnout. Teachers need professional development in recognizing subtle changes in students' behavior, mood, and academic performance that may indicate digital stress or burnout. Early interventions is key to supporting a student struggling with technology fatigue or addiction. Next, we have the role of families in digital well-being. Family provides the necessary foundation of role models for a child's understanding of balance. The home environment shapes a student's default habits regarding screens and communication. Parents can monitor children's screen time and online activities. This responsibility is about guided supervision, not punitive surveillance, especially as children navigate the complex landscape of adolescence. Parents can prioritize open and honest dialogue. Monitoring should be primarily achieved not through spying, but through open, honest dialogue about what children are doing online. Parents should ask questions from a place of curiosity and care. For example, what game are you playing or who are you connecting with? Next, you can also utilize parental control judicially. For younger students, parents should proactively use parental control to set limit of total screen time, app downloads, and access to mature content. These tools are most effectively when used transparently and discussed with the child so they understand the reasons for the limits. The second one is to encourage open conversations about emotions and online experience. The home must be a non-judgmental atmosphere where students feel safe to be vulnerable about their digital lives. The parents can discuss the good and the bad, encouraging students to discuss both the positive and the negative comment aspect of their online experiences. This can normalize reducing shame and increases the likelihood a child will report a serious issues like cyberbullying. The next one is validate digital experiences. Parents should avoid dismissiveness. By creating a non-judgmental atmosphere, parents signal that they understand that online relationships, conflicts, and pressures feel very real and intense to their children. And the last one is model balance tech habits at home. Children learn primarily by observing, making parental digital habits the most important lesson available. So instead, the parents can be present during the dedicated family times. Parents must commit to putting their phone away during key dedicated family time, such as dinner, playtime, or bedtime routines. If a parent is constantly checking what emails at the dining table, the student will internalize that behavior, learning that screens hold a higher value than personal connections. Next, discuss your own boundaries. Parents can talk openly with their children about the digital boundaries they set for themselves. I'm putting my phone on silent because I need to focus on this project. Or maybe I'm not checking email tonight because I need to rest. This turns modeling into. Okay, so to conclude our discussions for today, we want to highlight one key idea, which is technology is a powerful tool, but like any other tool, it must be used wisely and in balance. So in the post academic world, students continue to rely heavily on digital devices for learning and communications. While this brings flexibility and access, it also introduces new challenges to mental health, such as stress, distractions, and burnout. So, I believe that's why digital well-being matters. It's not about avoiding technology, but about maintaining control over it, using it in ways that support our learning, creativity, and emotional growth. Teachers play a vital role in guiding students through this balance, modeling healthy tech habits, and also creating a supportive classroom culture. Schools can strengthen these efforts through awareness programs and counseling, while families can reinforce digital mindfulness at home. And last but not least, ultimately, digital well-being is a shared journey. When students, teachers, parents, and school work together, we can build a healthier digital environment, one where technology enhances our life rather than overwhelms them.